Hey, today there's a new bug that lets you steal items out of Helldivers' hands. We've got a response from a developer about a new feature, and the CEO speaks out about something they're striving for. We'll also talk about the Epoch hidden stats that a player discovered. There are some new issues that have also popped up as of late. Plus, that's not all, there's even more to discuss. As always, if you enjoy the content, please show some love by hitting the like button. I'd really appreciate it. Let's jump right in. Alrighty, Helldivers, we've got a lot to go over today. The first thing I'd like to bring up is something peculiar that the CEO spoke on. A Helldiver asked if there are any primary melees in the works and how they want a large sorting game. In response, Arrowhead CEO wrote back to essentially say they won't rest until they bring some sort of chainsaw sword into the game. Is this interesting post from Shams confirmation that they're going to introduce a new chainsaw melee anytime soon? To be honest, I'm not sure. I think it's certainly possible that they'll give us new melees, and I wouldn't be surprised, especially after seeing a reply like this from the CEO. What do you think? If you have any thoughts on this, let me know in the comments. Next up, there's a comment from Arrowhead's developer Alexus confirming a new feature with bunkers. He replied to a player stating that it was designed to allow us to go inside bunkers with the new warp pack stratagem. They've intentionally made it possible to pick up rewards inside without needing a second Helldiver to press the buttons. I'm sure you've seen it already, but there are ways to enter bunkers with the new warp pack to grab the items inside without any assistance. You actually don't even need the new stratagem to go inside. I'll show you two ways you can enter a bunker without a second player. For example, in this first video clip, you can use the warp pack to teleport inside, grab the items, and then exit using the same teleportation. However, let's say you haven't purchased the new control group warbond. So how can you enter without the stratagem? Well, all you need is a mech, whether it's the Emancipator or Patriot. Either one will work. You'll enter the mech, go towards the entrance, turn around so the back of the mech is facing the door, then exit the mech. You'll go inside and you can grab everything. When it's time to leave, just head towards the door and re-enter the mech. It's that simple. And you don't need a warp pack for this. Anyway, the same developer asked a question, asking if anyone has tried to teleport with the warp pack while dropping it. I know I certainly haven't, and I decided to give it a go after seeing this post to see what happens. It's nothing too crazy, but what you'll see here is that it'll teleport to a different spot without it equipped. At first I thought maybe this would be a cool way to inflict damage by essentially throwing a black hole at an enemy, so I gave it a go as you'll see here, and it definitely doesn't look like it's possible. Unfortunately, it doesn't inflict damage unless you have it on when you teleport. So yeah, on a related note, since I just brought up the warp pack and mech, I want to share a new glitch that'll allow you to steal items out of a player's hands. Before I go over it, I'd like to mention that this is only possible if you intentionally do it. You can't activate this unless you're deliberately using the warp pack. All you have to do is go towards a bunker door, teleport inside and outside quickly while grabbing the item. If you do it fast enough, you'll eventually see an icon pop up, allowing you to grab whatever item is in the Helldiver's hand. For instance, you'll see Ninja here has an anti-material rifle, and I can grab it straight out of his hands. The strange part about this bug is that it gets even glitchier. We could tell that Ninja's hands are empty and stretched out, sort of. In fact, it's possible that the anti-material rifle, or whatever you've taken out of your friend's hand, will stay floating and can be fired mid-air as if it's a turret, as you'll see here in this video clip. Now, I thought this was an interesting find discovered by Ninja, and it's incredible that this can happen. So again, you cannot do this unless you're intentionally trying to do it as the player with the war pack. Otherwise, you won't be able to have your friends steal it out of your hands. It just won't be possible. Next up, we're going to go over one more bug that I think you'll find intriguing. If you didn't know, the new passive will let you stay alive forever. What you'll need is a mech nearby. Once you hit the floor and the passive activates, all you have to do is head towards a mech, enter it, and it'll allow you to stay alive without your health bar decreasing. You'll have a gray screen, but it's not God mode. So once the mech is destroyed or you exit the mech, your health bar will start to decrease again. This will only allow you to stay alive while you're inside it. Lastly, assuming this is a bug and not intentional, the warp pack can be used when you enter the Pelican. As it extracts, you'll be left on the planet However, you'll be rewarded nonetheless. Continuing along, we're going to go over the updated known issues, including a post where Helldiver discovered some hidden stats that might explain why the epoch is currently inaccurate. I'm sure you've all tested out the epoch recently and have seen how strange the accuracy is, and it appears to be a known issue now the developers are aware of. You can see this on their support site, it's listed right here. Now, there's a player who discovered in the files that the epoch is currently set to have 100 vertical spread and 150 horizontal spread. This player also mentioned that the reprimand was set at 50 spread, as well as noting the developers made it so the epoch restores 2 mags instead of 4 mags. It's kind of wild that I didn't notice it only resupplies 2 when I was testing out the epoch. Nevertheless, it's apparent that it's an issue and the developers are planning to resolve the inaccuracy bug. As for the mag concerns, we don't know if they're going to change that at any point. With that being said, there's a second issue they've listed on the known issue notes right here about how the Lift 182 Warp Pack, when used inside the FRV, aka the Fast Recon Vehicle, will cause the player to be desynced. This I haven't tried just yet. If you have done this recently and experienced desync problems, just know they're fully aware of it. Lastly, on the known issue list, they revealed that the Warpack black hole can sometimes cause an issue where it can be seen while aiming down the sights in first person. There's also a bug with the Wasp, apparently, that it can only be fired in semi-auto mode after switching firing modes. All in all, those are the 4 issues they've listed recently, and again, if you've noticed any of these issues, they've acknowledged them right here. And I'm sure they'll continue to update the list as more problems are reported. I'd like to know if you've experienced any bugs recently that were not listed here. If so, comment below this video. Okay, now that we've taken a break from going over the developer's post, shall we take a glance at a few more? I think we should. I've seen concerns in the comments on my previous video about the control group test video, which, by the way, if you haven't seen it, I recommend checking it out. Anyhow, there were comments about how the variable sucks because it doesn't come with a medium armor penetration trait. There's a response we got from Alexus, a developer at Arrowhead, about this. He replied to a post, which you can see here, that a player wrote about how the variable should have higher penetration. In response to this post, Alexus explained that any primary would benefit from having higher armor penetration and didn't debate it. However, he noted that light armor penetration is a baseline for primaries and that most of them are supposed to be used against small to medium-sized enemies with the possibility to hurt big enemies, but not effectively. Alexus went on to say that medium armor penetration should be reserved for a select few primaries, giving the Liberator Penetrator as one of those examples. So I'll be fair here, I don't think he's wrong at all, because if you think about it, if every primary weapon received the same exact penetration, then it wouldn't make sense, given that there wouldn't be a difference between any of them. I like how the lip pin is different from other primaries. I'd also like to say that maybe I'm wrong, I'm just stating how I feel about it. And it doesn't mean at all that I'm right. In fact, I'm sure it can be debated. So if you have any thoughts about this, then feel free to post a comment below and tell me what you think about this. Let's now go over another post from Alexus that replied to a comment about how a Helldiver was disappointed that the epoch cannot be used to destroy doors or enemy structures like closing terminate holes or even destroying an illuminate warp ship. Which, by the way, I have to agree, I was slightly disappointed about that as well. I will say for some reason it can be used to destroy automaton fabricators. In a way, Alexus wrote that Demolition Force is one of those things that they use to balance weapons, and he brought up how in-universe the plasma is weightless and used to cook enemies to a crisp, and it's just not useful for removing reinforced doors. So it looks like they're most likely not going to add any Demolition Force that'll be used to close terminate holes or destroy ships, unfortunately, based on his response about how it works in universe. So what about buffing certain items in the control group Warbond? Are they planning to do that at any time soon in the near future? The answer to that is maybe. We got another post from Alexus stating that they're going to take a look at the data they have, which isn't much. He confirmed they've got a little bit of data to go off of, and it seems he said that it's always a knee-jerk reaction, I guess, when buffing stuff. Interesting. We'll see what happens in the near future. I'm not entirely sure what they could do to buff the Warpack so that it's a lot better than it is now. Maybe they could change it so that when you warp towards a large enemy, whether it be a Hulk, for example, or even a flesh mob, it stops us from exploding. Because if you didn't know, that's what happens currently when warping towards a larger enemy. I personally would like to see that change, but again, I'm not sure what else they could change about it to make it better. Perhaps one of you Helldivers has an idea. Switching gears, we're now going to go over another CEO post from Shams Georgiani that spoke about frame generation. A lot of you have been requesting this, and it appears to be on the wish list, at least from what the CEO has written here. He basically has stated that there's some fundamental problems that impact performance as of right now, and they won't be focusing on DLSS or FSR anytime soon, but it's being discussed as of late, so maybe they'll think about it eventually. Hell, I think this might pop up next year if I had to guess. Unless they're able to figure out those fundamental problems that are currently impacting the game's performance. Who knows? If you have been requesting this as well, it's on the wish list. The wish list, by the way, is the same situation with cross-save progression. If you don't know, that's not possible yet. They're talking about, including that in the future at some point. Who knows when that'll happen? So a lot of these things are just on the wish list. It's not confirmed. We don't know when it's going to pop up or when it'll come, but just know they're talking about it. Speaking of talking about, there's a comment about Helldivers 3 when a player asked what the CEO's vision is for Helldivers 2 in 2 more years. In response to this question, the CEO basically said he's bought in on the developers, game directors, and the CCO's vision for the game. He also said that they're focused on what's here and now, and that Helldivers 3 is hopefully many years in the future. It's great to know that they're focused on Helldivers 2 as of now because it deserves the attention. It's not like they're going to pop up with another Helldivers 3 next year. It's not a Call of Duty situation where there's a new game every year. Lastly, from the CEO, he also replied to a question about a sit emote and whether they'll include it in-game. He thinks it's a cool idea, and that if it's requested a lot, they'll include it eventually. Okay, before we wrap up the video, I just want to point out that if you join my Discord right now, we've been talking a lot about the secret changes and a lot of different stuff. For instance, we have a post here by Lyronek, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right, that pointed out that the SAM sites are officially back, which is really neat. He said that there's both an urban and non-urban SAMs, which is really awesome to see. We've also got another post here from a fellow member, a fellow Helldiver named Marquis, that posted this image showcasing how there's these blue cables that look quite familiar. It looks like illuminate cables. However, this is actually on the automatons biomes, specifically the megacities, and you can see how this cable is connected to the buildings. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Nonetheless, that's what's happening right now. Okay, we're now going to go over the top 3 comments. First with Perry Unit that said how awful the spread is on the Epoch, and yes, it's terrible. They're looking into it, and hopefully it'll be resolved Tuesday or something like that, maybe. The second top comment is by Barchi that said, he loves the work, bro. That was so quick. Thank you a lot. I appreciate comments like this, and I don't take them for granted because without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. The last and final comment can be seen here where this player brought up how the Warp and Breaker might be their new loadout combo, and it reminds them of Vanguard from Mass Effect 3. Shout out to Mass Effect 3, and that's a great comment right there. I agree. And anyways, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, support the channel by tapping the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thank you to everyone that subscribed, members, and even the lurkers. As always, got to give you all a shout out, and I'll see you in the next one.